And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lowdown Podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin. Today on the show, we're going to talk about LeBron James's complaint about the amount of travel that the Lakers are going to be doing as they head to Milwaukee for the third game of their preseason. We're going to try to figure out who's going to say hi to Darvin Ham whenever the two teams take the court. If anybody is going to, that'd be fun. And then we're going to talk about the number of threes that the Lakers are going to be taking this year under JJ Redick, as that has been a point of conversation basically since the beginning of training camp. So I have my thoughts on how many threes the Lakers should be taking, the kinds of threes that the Lakers should be taking, and that kind of stuff. So and then I'm doing this again. I could have gone live about 5-10 minutes ago, maybe 15, but I've been sitting here just with my mouth open watching the beginning of this Dodgers playoff game. So I'm going to, I think there was something in my hat. Sweet. I'm going to try to keep it together and get you guys through the show. This is going to be a slightly shorter show because I have a bonus episode tomorrow morning that I'm going to be recording. And then I'll have Raj and I will be live after the game tomorrow night. So plenty of stuff to get through here on this fine Wednesday evening while the Dodgers give me a hernia. All right. So first and foremost, LeBron tweeted out earlier today that he was not happy about the amount of travel that the Lakers are doing here. LeBron, quote, can someone please explain to me why we're getting on a plane and heading to Milwaukee for one preseason game? Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. There was a plane emoji in there as well. So first and foremost, the reason why this is taking place is the league doesn't, like, outside of a couple global trips. I do think in those cases, the league does kind of tell teams where they're going to be going. If there's like a trip to China, or this year they went to Abu Dhabi. So if you're going to participate in those are kind of league forced trips on those teams that they choose to send out there. The Lakers used to be in China pretty often because of Kobe's relationship with the region. And then as the NBA has kind of focused more on the Middle East and Emirate money, they are doing a little more in the Middle East and sending more teams out there. Obviously, you have trips to Europe sometimes. You have trips down south to Mexico and to South American countries. If you're playing a preseason game, there's a good chance that the league told your team to go down there and play there. Other than that, most preseason schedules are kind of left up to the teams. Think of it like college sports, where you have non-conference games that are scheduled by schools. Sometimes there's usually contractual negotiations there and relationships heading into those games. And in this case, it's a home and home that the Lakers, I believe, I think it's been reported, but I did a little reaching out too. I kind of asked around, and yeah, the Lakers and the Bucks agreed to a home and home. The Bucks played in LA last preseason. This time it's the Lakers' turn to fly out there to Milwaukee and play out there. My thing is, if you're gonna do this, like if you're gonna agree to a home and home, I think it'd be more fun to set up neutral sites about halfway between the two markets. Milwaukee's going to see the Lakers this year, and there are cities that aren't going to see the Lakers this year or ever, really. So I'd like to see them maybe get a little bit more creative with this. This is something that Lee and I have talked about a lot on Basketball Passport. So, yeah, that's like why this is taking place. I would also say that, like, I understand why LeBron would be kind of frustrated by this, because the Lakers already have one of the lengthier travel schedules in the league, being based in Southern California. Those coastal teams tend to fly more than those teams that are situated more towards the middle of the country. And then if you are, in the north of, or the south, also on top of being really far west or east, that also involves more travel up along your own coast too. So for the Lakers to already have that really long, travel schedule, and then add on top of that 4,000 or so extra round trip miles to Milwaukee for a game that does not matter, I could understand why LeBron, being as regimented as he is, would be like, wait, what? What are we doing? Even that said, I understand why fans would be like, shut up. You guys are zillionaires. You guys fly private. You're going to fly to Milwaukee, play a basketball game, and then fly back and be able to rest up for the beginning of the season. I understand where fans would be coming from there too. So on all of these fronts, I understand the various stances people are going to be taking. I personally think it's kind of dumb, to have an older team, or a team headed by an older superstar, the oldest superstar in the league, doing a lot of extra travel here. But, grand scheme of things, I don't think it matters all that much. He'll fly into Milwaukee. He'll go through pregame. He'll play the first half of basketball, and then he'll ice his knees, and then they'll get right back on the plane, and be back in LA by the end of the night. So long as all of the travels are safe and sound, and all of that good stuff. So much ado about nothing for the most part. But JJ Redick also commented on his annoyance with this game as well. More importantly, however, is than the travel, is who is going to be saying hi to Darvin Ham, because this is going to get kind of interesting. So obviously, Darvin Ham has been shat on basically all training camp, media day, training camp, even the Netflix show. LeBron was talking, in the first episode of the Netflix show, about how much he hated his minutes restriction at the beginning of the season. And we all know how long that lasted. So Darvin has had a tough time in terms of PR, on top of, by the way, losing his job 6 months prior. So you have you have the situation here where it's a team that is basically intact, flying into Milwaukee, where they'll see their old coach, a coach, by the way, who nobody stuck up for over the course of last year, when I was reporting some inflammatory stuff about the things going on in the locker room. We know Jovan wrote about this a ton for The Athletic. Basically, everybody was taking their turn talking about how kind of toxic that relationship was almost at the beginning of the year, right? That clip with LeBron telling the entire coaching staff, this is bullshit, I hate this is garbage, all of that good stuff. That was game one. The opening scene of that game was the Denver Nuggets getting their rings. So I'm really kind of curious how the Lakers play this out. The politically correct thing to do would just be to take your turns, either waving to the end of the bench, or dapping him up. LeBron is always very political in these things. I wouldn't be surprised if he walked over there to the sideline as the teams are taking the court to go and say hi to Darvin, to make it seem as if it wasn't as bad or whatever. But it would be just that. It would be theater. And B, what matters more is what these guys have kind of said about Darvin, indirectly by complimenting JJ Redick. It's impossible to not connect those dots there. And I don't think the Lakers don't want us to connect those dots. Even Rob Pelinka was talking about how much he wanted a grinder. He wanted somebody who was going to be very attentive to detail and all of that stuff. Very prepared, hyper prepared type of head coach was the next guy that they were looking for. that would indicate those were things that he wasn't thrilled with Darvin about. Darvin himself has talked. Apparently, he said to Patrick Beverley that he also wasn't, as prepared as he needed to be, or the Lakers didn't practice enough or hard enough, as in terms of the preparation on a regular basis, while Patrick and Darvin were Lakers together. So we know what this relationship has felt like. We know what it has looked like. We know basically what it has actually been like. And it would really surprise me if nobody went over and said anything. That would be pretty insane. But also, if it happened, it would be this viral moments or whatever, and I would totally understand where the Lakers are coming from, because I share those same frustrations. I thought he was poorly prepared on a regular basis last year. I thought he made some really stupid decisions in terms of rotations, and I thought he was insanely stubborn on too many fronts as all of this was going on. Look at Kike go. Look at my dude Kike. One day I'll tell my Kike story in my Vin Scully story from my time covering the Dodgers. But Darvin did a really poor job in that second year, got fired as a result of it. And basically everybody who was even like remotely attached to the Lakers this year are really happy about the fact that he isn't there. So tomorrow is going to be really interesting to watch how that all unfolds. All right. In terms of actual basketball here, how many threes is too many for the Lakers? So last year, the Lakers took about 28 threes a game. And they shot like 31 or so per game, and it ranked at like 28th in the league in terms of number of threes taken. That obviously, between that and the poor offensive rebounding and the poor transition defense, made for just an abysmal disadvantage in terms of margins on a regular basis for the Lakers. And JJ basically wants to do a lot of work on the margins to get some of those disadvantages back. And one of the ways that he wants to go about it is by shooting a lot of threes. And one of the things that I have heard from the people close to these practices is how hard these coaches are going at guys when they pass up on an open three-pointer. I think right now the focus is on just taking every open three-pointer that you can to get into the habit of getting them up in volume. And then over time, maybe scaling it back or talking a little bit more about the types of three-pointers that the Lakers should be taking. And I think that's the correct approach to changing somebody's habits, right? You overcompensate at first, and then as somebody regresses, you do so smartly. And that's where we kind of arrive. And runners on the corners with one out. Chris Taylor couldn't even move over a runner. Way to go, bud. So yeah, you arrive at this place here where the number of threes and where they come from in the offense. I think right now the focus is on just taking the threes, and then eventually they'll focus on the types of threes that they're looking for. So for me, more importantly than even like the number of threes that they're taking is paying close attention to where those threes come from. There you go, Tani. Where those threes come from, where where in the offense they come from, what kind of situations and all of that good stuff. And for me, I would like to see threes created inside out, right? The Lakers, you have Dalton Connect, who does do a lot of running off of screens, and will eventually be doing a lot more of that as he gets more situated and as he becomes a bigger part of the rotation. But the Lakers just aren't good enough collectively to shoot too many threes where your shoulders have to turn a bunch. Case in point would be like, if you're on the wing and you catch a pass from your point guard, if the basket's over there and I'm getting the pass from over here, when I catch the pass, I have to rotate my shoulders, square them up, and let it fly. Or, vice versa, right? If I'm on the opposite wing, I'm getting the ball from over here and the basket's over there. I have to catch, square up, and then let it fly, right? And that's where those types of threes are the ones that I would like the Lakers to, eventually whittle out, right? We're seeing some of those right now. They're taking a lot of transition threes right now, too. That'll be something that I think LeBron winds up kind of tempering down a bit because if you're taking a transition three, that means you aren't getting into your offense. And I think LeBron is going to want to be a bigger, and you want LeBron to be a bigger part of your offense than if you're just kind of coming down and jacking open threes. So that'll be something to watch. But the kinds of threes that I want the Lakers to really lean on this year are those inside out threes, whether it's a three created with a post up on, for Anthony Davis, whether it's a three created by LeBron or AD being in the short roll, whether it's a three created by, an inverse pick and roll where Austin or, they didn't do that too much with D'Lo. He doesn't like to set too many screens. Gabe, I think, is somebody who might do this a little bit too. Maybe you get Gabe or Reeves in the short roll and they find the right kind of pass. And if you're catching a ball from the free throw line, and I'm standing in the corner, my shoulders basically aren't moving, right? Because of the angle that pass is coming from. If I'm catching it from over here at the top of the key and I'm at the wing, my shoulders really have to move. But if I'm down at the corner of the court and the pass is coming from the free throw line, or even better from like the block or a baseline drive, my shoulders aren't moving at all, and I get to remain squared up to the rim throughout that attempt. Those are the types of threes that I think the Lakers will eventually really try to focus on, and really try to feast on. Let's go again, Mookie. Let's go. Is that going to score him? Yep, Kike's running. That's 3-0. Let's get this back to LA. Woo! Sorry. Again, focus. And it'll be something to obviously pay very close attention to, not just through our training camp and not just through these preseason games, but also very, very importantly throughout the beginning of the season, as we see what kind of identity the Lakers take on offensively. So, bit of a spiel there on 3-point shooting, but I don't care so much about the quality. I do want them to get more up, but I want to make sure that the quality of the 3-pointers it remains, as efficient as it can while you get up. The quantity also goes up. That's very easy to say in theory. We'll see what that looks like in practice. All right, so that is, I believe, going to do it for this episode of the Lakers Lowdown. Again, short episode here because I'm going to have a longer conversation with a guest of mine. I know I said that I had a guest lined up for today. He's actually out with a head cold. So despite me not jinxing it, I jinxed it. So isn't that how that goes sometimes? So until tomorrow morning, I'm not going to go live with this one because it'll be pretty early West Coast time, but I will get this up like early afternoon, I would imagine. It'll be a fun conversation that I really look forward to talking to this guest. He's been great to this point in the times that I brought him up before. And then tomorrow after the game, Raj and I will break down whatever we saw from the game. So until then, and until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin saying have a great rest of your day, make somebody else's, and go bleeping Dodgers. Let's go.